Hello, welcome. I don't know if you heard about a movie that's coming out recently. It's called, what's it called again? Doomsday. Doomsday? Avengers Doomsday. Because Doomsday's in it. That's not what this video is about. This video is about the first Avenger. Not the first Avengers movie. The first Avenger, the Captain America movie. One of the things I like about this movie is that it takes a minute to get to where Steve Rogers is, and I appreciate that. The pacing is one of the most interesting things about it. I think it's very well done. You go from, slow to action to slow to action, and it feels, very natural. As the story progresses, it feels like a very natural, progressing story, and I really appreciate that. The Red Skull's, architecture, with his ship and everything. It reminds me of Sphere. I don't know if anyone of people who may be watching this have seen Sphere, but if you haven't, it's also got Samuel L. Jackson in it. So apparently Red Skull is the only one who knows how to pronounce this word. So, sorry. Look at Cap. He's so cute. Some parts of this movie have aged better than others, and one of the things that hasn't is Steve. Steve, you look at him and you're like, oh yeah, no, that might exist, but the thing is that it doesn't. I have been a thin, shrimpy little boy before, arguably still am. This is not. I like how Steve comes off early in this movie because he's going to the war for the right reasons, but he doesn't like bullies. He doesn't have bloodlust. He's not trying to kill Nazis, but he still comes off as really young and naive, and I really appreciate that. Sure, he's sort of an Indiana Jones, I don't have a character arc, I don't need one, but he still clearly has learning and growing and maturing to do at the beginning of this movie. One thing that the movie is trying to get across is that Thin Steve and Thick Steve Thin Steve and Thick Steve are the same Steve on the inside. And sure, his muscles give him the ability to do things he wouldn't be able to, but he's still Thin Steve, and that's why he's Captain America. I think it's really funny that in this movie, they're like, oh, Tesseract, keep it in a box, don't touch it, because in the later Infinity War, whatever, they're thrown around and they're juggling them. They're juggling Infinity Stones whoa, wow, whoa, whoa. So, it's nice to see some reference. There's a nice moment in the moment where they're doing the, Steve, the Captain America-ing, of the America-ing. There's a moment where, it's all going wrong. They're like, oh my gosh, this is more than Steve can handle. And they start to stop the operation or whatever, and he tells them to keep going, which is a nice touch. At the end of the day, it was completely up to him. He was the one who chose to do it. At the end of the day, it was his choice. It's funny, I'd forgotten how the instant he becomes Captain America, instantly, pandemonium, boom, 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 scientist man is dead. Oh no, I'll never get to do the shot with him. I have to run off after this guy. And he's clearly whoa, I just got out of this machine. I have all these muscles. I'm learning how to move again. And then he has to go apprehend this dude. It's a rough morning. That's a rough morning. Also, he hadn't eaten. No liquids. I need to work out. Whoa, look. We made a super soldier. Ah, yes. What's his first mission going to be? Is he going to go after Hitler? The craziest tech Hydra has ever made is the brand new, perpetually exploding building. Get yours today. Up to 5 minutes of pure explosion. I might have a crush on Bucky. I hope nothing bad happens to him. Color grading. Movies are color graded different colors. They have different palettes. Different scenes will have different palettes, but then all the movie will also have a different, color palette as a whole. This movie is actually very yellow, red, and blue. Almost every scene is largely either blue tinged, red tinged, or yellow, which I think is supposed to be white, right? So the movie's literally red, white, and blue. It's color graded to be red, white, and blue. The gratuitous explosions in this movie are insane. And honestly, I respect it. They look great. At least to me, I'm not an explosion expert, but they look amazing to me. And it's cartoonishly laughable that this motorcycle slams into this metal wall and explodes, just a massive gasoline explosion, I assume. Who knows? Maybe it's SOP to just fill your gas tanks with C4. Maybe that's just standard practice. Maybe they accidentally commissioned Dr. Doofenshmirtz to build some of their tanks. That's probably the realistic explanation, all things considered. I'm gonna go with that. It's canon now. Suck it, Disney. I am a fan of the Howling Commandos. I like them. I wish they had more screen time. They actually do a good job, in my opinion, of having them feel like they're each individual characters with backstories and lives, with only giving them a few lines or scenes. I've only seen this movie twice, and I'm already a fan of the guy with the mustache, and the other guys that I remember their names. Oh gosh, maybe they are forgettable. Well, I liked them. Whoa, back in time. Let's go back in time. Back, farther. Here. I'm 12 years old. I am watching this cool movie with my dad. And one of my worst fears is being atomized. I didn't know this word at the time, but being just disappeared out of existence, it's so unfair to me. It's not fair because when you get stabbed or shot, at least your body or you have a chance to fight back, to maybe heal. Even if you get a limb cut off, maybe you could get a tourniquet on that thing, slap some, get a green herb or some first aid spray. But when you are just grazed by this beam of light, you burst into nothingness like you never existed. There's no grave, there's only memories, and if nobody knew you, you just are erased from existence. It's my worst fear. It still terrifies me. Marvel at the time was probably like, okay, well, how do we make this not gory? We're just gonna have boom, boom, boom explosions and people disappear. Ah, that'll be nice. No. I would have preferred all the gore in the world to this. This is my worst nightmare. Red Skull looks fantastic. I still think looks fantastic. Like, his teeth look a little... Honestly, I think they're like the mask teeth, like Jim Carrey the Mask. They're probably like inserts. They look like that, or they're just like CGI teeth. I'm not sure which. I didn't look up any behind the scenes, but it looks great, except for the teeth, which is the only thing that throws me off. I think it's so funny that... No! I think it's so funny that when Red Skull gets beamed up, he touches it, and then just unexplained, out of nowhere, into the sky. You can see space, and he shoots. And Steve's just like... He doesn't even have a reaction. No lines? Modern Marvel would never admit, this is what the character would. What just happened? Did that just happen? He's right behind me. Or they'd have him say something like, guess I'm the pilot now. Or like, okay, this is why I'm not a screenwriter. Obviously, it's perfectly casted. I don't even know who played Sergeant. Is he a sergeant? I assume he's a sergeant. He seems like a sergeant, but beautiful, lovely. Again, I like how you don't get bogged down in the details. Marvel villains get a bad rap for having no backstory or depth, but I think Red Skull doesn't need it. He's just an evil Nazi. You don't need to get bogged down in this stuff. And then he's after the Tesseract. Why does he want the Tesseract? For power, because it gives him, literal actual power. What is the Tesseract? Not really important. The thing that's important is that everyone's after it. I don't know. It's kind of refreshing. I know that they were gonna answer these later, so it's not like it wasn't gonna be explained. I just like how it isn't explained in the movie, and you don't get just exposition scene this is the Tesseract. Here's the Pokemon card. Let's read the Pokemon card together. Come here. I feel like I need some big thing to finish, and I don't have one. So get out of here. Go. But not to TikTok. Stay on YouTube. Don't you dare to go to TikTok. Delete TikTok. It sucks.